Okay. What's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. We're gonna be playing some Valheim today. I'm not like addicted to this or anything. I actually have not played it since my stream on Wednesday, but I needed something to play for Hanging with Mangg, and I thought about doing Neo 2, but I'm like, no, I'm just gonna die over and over and get frustrated as I try to just talk about things, so forget that. So yeah, it was either another week of Final Fantasy 14 or like Valheim, which is relatively relaxing and peaceful, so why not? Yeah, so that's what's happening with that. So some exciting things going on in the world of Mangg this week, or I guess like the start of some exciting things. Nothing has happened really yet, but it's starting. Oh, that's how you level out some ground. Oh. Oh. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Alright, it's kind of amusing. So first thing is, I don't know how much that's leveling the ground. Oh, I guess there you go. First thing is I'm starting the house hunting process. I'm looking for a home. Always exciting. I went and saw a house on Thursday. I'm going to see another house tomorrow. I don't really plan on buying either of these houses. The one I went to on Thursday, there was like a decent chance that it could have been like my next house. It was in a great location. It was priced suspiciously low for like the acreage, the square footage, the location. Like I said, I mean, it was just like, wow, the pictures looked fantastic. It's like, what is wrong with this house that no one's buying it and it's priced this low? It's crazy. So we went and saw it, and we found out what was wrong with it. Nothing that couldn't be, well, mostly nothing that couldn't be fixed. It just would require a lot of investment in time and money. That the pictures online just did not show. One is like all the windows would pretty much have to be replaced. I mean, they were all like, all the seals had been blown, and they were just like, I don't know, the windows were all pretty much fucked up. The screens were all had tears in them and holes in them and stuff. So that was a problem. Then there were some very odd design choices as far as like the layout of the home, and just like odd little things, like little like nooks like cut into the walls for no purpose. They serve no purpose. just like a foot wide nook in a wall. It's like, why is that there? Why wouldn't you just level that out so it just looks even? I mean, why is this here? Just like not a great use of space, I guess. Like the square footage that it had, of which my realtor thought that they were lying about. My realtor thought that they were lying about how much square footage this house actually had. You know, I'm not an expert, so okay. But even the whatever the space that they do had, I mean, it was a fairly big house, but it just was not utilized in as well as it could be, the space. And it's like, okay, do I really want to come in here and have to replace all the windows and take down walls and like completely, you know, restructure this house? There was some water damage. I mean, it's like, so even though I would get it at a great price, I'd have to put, you know, quite a bit of money into the place for it to be acceptable. And it's just more hassle than it's worth, when I certainly could find a nice house that's, you know, pretty much ready to go. Hope you get some good house pelts during your house hunting. Nice. Me too. Let's just explore. Let's just see what we can find out here. So, my problem when house hunting that I've found is that I'm not very picky. Like, I tend to just focus on like the positive aspects, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I could live here. This looks good. And I tend to ignore the negatives, and that's not good. So that I'm glad I have a bunch of other people in my family that are willing to go with and help me point out all the negatives, because I need that. So when we find a house that they're like, wow, this is good, you should move here, then I'm like, all right. Because I'll say that about pretty much any place. Fixer-upper houses are rarely ever worth it. Yeah, I mean, if I was trying to like flip it, or if I was like a real just handyman kind of guy that just wanted a project like that or something, then maybe. But I don't want to do anything. So yeah, that's not really a good fit. The house I'm going to tomorrow is like 2 blocks away from the other one, so it's the same neighborhood, same like really good location. Hell of a lot more expensive, like too expensive, to be honest. That's partly why I'm not going to buy it. It's just like you don't want to be house poor. You don't want to have all your money tied up in your home. But I mean, it's just a gorgeous looking home, like really incredible. Pretty much hits everything I need, but the lower level is like unfinished. You know, there's no walls, there's no drywall up, there's no ceiling, there's no carpeting, you know, that's all unfinished. And to have to do that on top of the exorbitant price of the house, it's just like, that's just a bit too much. I mean, if the price was like a good chunk lower, I wouldn't mind having to do the lower level. I could, you know, you could customize it the way I exactly want, but yeah, it's just not really a good financial idea. So we're gonna go look at it just, you know, for shits and giggles, I guess, because, you know, you get to stomp around in somebody's nice home. But yeah, mostly the issue right now is that most people don't list their homes until like March. So there's just not a lot out there right now, but the process is getting started. And that leads into my other news. I was thinking about, okay, I'm going to be moving into a larger home. I mean, compared to what I'm living in this small little condo right now. So I'm going to be moving into a larger home. You know, it's just me, really. Me and a few pets. So it's going to be kind of an empty place when I'm not entertaining people. And so I was like, okay, I want to get another cat, or I want to get a small dog. Now, I've really, like, never owned a dog. My family owned a dog for a number of years, but I, like, never paid much attention to it. I was just cared more about our cats. I don't know. I mean, it was fine, but it was a dog. So I'm like, you know, I could get another cat. That's certainly a fine thing to do. But maybe, you know, maybe it's time to switch things up a little bit. Maybe I give a little dog a try. You know, not like a big dog. Basically, I want a dog that's as close to a cat as I can get, while still technically having canine DNA. And so I thought about, I thought about, Coronet. Coronet is based on a dog. And apparently the breed she's based on is a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. I was like, okay, I've never heard of this breed. So I started looking into Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Seems like a really nice dog. Seems like a good fit for me. It's not that big. It's like very, very affectionate, very friendly, but it's still a bit of a couch dog. It doesn't require that much exercise, doesn't require you to go jogging with it for 3 hours a day. And I like the look of them. So yeah, my plan right now is to get a female Cavalier King Charles Spaniel and name it Coronet. Not because I'm like simping for Coronet or anything like that. I just like the name, and I'm one of those people that I can't ever name an animal like a normal human name, like Lucy or something. I mean, that's just lame as shit. I hate that. So if I'm gonna have a pet, it's gonna have a weird fucking name, where no one will ever confuse it for, oh, who's Lucy? Who are you talking to? It's like, no. I have a cat named Kitty. There's no, I mean, I guess, yes, there are people named Kitty, but anyways, you get what I'm saying. So it was basically either a female dog named Coronet or a male dog named Oi from the Dark Tower. And I'm leaning towards, Coronet. But anyway, just because I was curious, I looked up, like, okay, what's, ignoring the whole Cavalier King Charles Spaniel thing of Coronet and all that, I was like, what's a good dog for someone that likes cats? What dog breed is most like a cat? And I typed that into Google, and I clicked on the first link, and number one was Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. So I'm like, all right, it seems meant to be. Let's go with that. So I don't want to get it until I move, but I think there might be waiting lists. This is kind of a, it's not just going to the pound and grabbing any old mutt or anything like that. I want a specific breed, so. But that's my plan. That's my plan. So, yeah, that's what's going on, is moving, and I'm getting a dog. Really turning life around here. Yeah. So that's that. Moving on. This week on this channel, we played Valheim on Wednesday as part of the variety stream. That was fun. We've done some more Divinity Original Sin 2, my solo playthrough. That's going to continue for a while. And we've got Dragon Quest 6. You know, we're like halfway done with that or something like that. Two Brothers play Final Fantasy X. That's going strong. That's all good. And yeah, that's mostly what's happening. Now, this Wednesday, I'll be starting... Oh, you are out of arrow. I'll be starting the second game in the Dark Pictures anthology. Little Hope, or whatever it's called. This is the next game in that series after Man of Medan that we played. I mean, it's probably not going to be like a masterpiece of game design or anything like that, or of writing, but I think you'll get a little bit of fun out of it. Fuck off, man. And so yeah, that's that. As for upcoming game releases, there's really two I have my eye on. One is, of course, Monster Hunter Rise next month. That will be getting a whole slew of videos, and we'll probably do like a Two Brothers play. Just 1 week, we'll just sit down together and play through it on camera. The other one is Bravely Default 2, which comes out fairly soon. Definitely very interested in that game as far as like a modern, old school RPG on the Switch with turn-based combat, job selection, and really just like, you know, that sort of old school mentality, but done in a modern way. Kind of like Octopath Traveler, but it's just, you know, we've got a major turn-based RPG release on the Switch, and so that makes me interested. I'm contemplating doing a Let's Play of it. I'm contemplating. There's certainly other games we could play. I just saw one that looked like it could be interesting called like 13 Sentinels. I don't know if anyone's played that or heard of it. That looked like it could be kind of unique and interesting. I'm carrying too much. Eat my ass. Yeah. Drop some raspberries. Eat raspberries. Oh, don't. Here we go. There you go. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. I mean, certainly could just do Bravely Default 2 and it'll be good. But we'll see. Die now, dear. Drive him into the ocean. Drive him into the ocean. Oh, that's like a super deer. Super dead. Fuck. Surely he will die out there. And yeah, so I don't really, I mean, next week at least will be completely normal. So it is what it is. Over on the Exploring series, I released a video on the House of the Worm. He's really like swimming for freedom. House of the Worm, I got a lot of comments that are like, oh, you know, why do all these SCP channels do the same SCPs at the same time? Don't they like coordinate? No, we don't. One of the animated SCP channels, I guess, released a video on it like 2 days before I did. You know, I don't know what they're working on. They don't know what I'm working on, and I released mine on Patreon probably when they released theirs publicly, so it's not like, you know, oh, I quickly copied their work. Their video was like 12 minutes, mine was like 50 minutes, so it's a little bit different. Oh, this seems like a good way to drown. Got to improve our swimming skills. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, get up on the rock, you fuck. What is your problem, man? Oh man. If I had arrows, this deer would be dead. But I don't. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, I could make a workbench right here. And make arrows. Alright, hold on. Needs a fucking roof? Why? Oh, the deer wants some. He thinks I'm busy, and he thinks he can get away. Yeah, stay the fuck out there till I'm ready. Why does he need a roof? Oh my god. Does it need like an enclosed roof, or can I just like shelter it from the rain or something? Like there, it's sheltered. Station's too exposed. This is some real BS. How about now? Yeah, all right. Got it. Coming for you, dear. Oh, don't you dare. Oh. No. Oh. Yeah, we did it. We're the greatest. Yeah, 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 yeah. Very nice. Anywho, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, House of the Worm. I don't know, man. We don't coordinate. Get over it. It happens. I don't know. I think somebody... I don't know. I don't know how that happened. I think somebody recommended House of the Worm to me, and I was like, this looks like it could be good. And people seem to like it. You know, I did a little something different there with the voice acting, and people seem to like it. And it's a 50-minute video, which means it's good for money. So yeah, I'm not gonna be ashamed. And I also released a audiobook this last week. You don't approach a man just randomly swinging his axe around. You'll die. Yeah, I released an audiobook of a book written by Ziggy. So he wrote this book a couple years ago or so, and I recorded the audiobook at the time. He asked me to do the audiobook. So I did. Oh, this is what happened when you're encumbered. You literally are just dead in the water. Oh, a flint axe. Ooh. And an antler pickaxe. Ooh, and a spear. Oh my god. Inventory's full. Yeah, that is a problem. Okay, we gotta, like, what am I doing with dandelions and feathers? We need axes and pickaxes. And spears. Arrows. Inventory full, but it stacks up to 100. Damn you. You enjoyed both, still listening to the audiobook. Nice. Yeah, you know, I didn't know how people would feel about the audiobook. We're a long way from home here. We are a long way from home. Let's see. Campfire. Okay. And a bed requires a bit more wood. I can get you wood. You want wood? We'll get wood. You know, the auto book, it's not Lovecraft. It's not any author they've ever heard of. And the audio quality is not up to my current level. It was recorded, you know, a couple years ago. And it has me doing, like, actual character voice acting, which is very new. But yeah, I mean, the people that listen to it seem to enjoy it, which I was certainly surprised by. You can't stack roof on roof. And you can stack this roof. This probably won't count, will it? Wait, you can't. Oh no, you would need the other wall. Yeah. We'll get there, don't worry. Okay, just... No, we need more wood. God damn it. But I gotta say, people liked it. People even liked the voice acting. And that gives me a little bit of confidence. You know, maybe we'll look into doing a bit more voice acting in the future. I'm not great at it, and I'll probably never be that great at it, but... if people tolerate it. And really the reason I say that I should do more of it is because basically I want to take more well, I don't want to take more vacations in life, but I want to take a vacation in life. And really the only way that I can take a vacation, I know I could just say, I could just announce, look, I'm burned out. I'm taking this week off. No SCP video. And people would be like, oh man, that's all right, but do what you got to do. I know that's what most people would say. It's still not. It's just not. Bed is too exposed. I'll expose my ass. This is a perfectly good shelter. Oh my god. All right, hold on. It just doesn't feel right to just not release a video. And I think overall YouTube does not encourage it. Algorithm-wise and things like that. They don't encourage that shit. 2 wood. Oh my god. It's gonna be morning by the time I finish this stupid shelter. So the only way I really feel comfortable taking a vacation, taking a week off, is if I have an SCP video ready to go. Like it's already finished. I don't have to work on it for that week, and I can just do nothing instead. That's basically how it works, and that's what I've done in the past. So anytime I released like an SCP reading video of some kind, whether it's Lord Blackwood or Clockwork Time or Document from the Marianas Trench, anytime I did that, it's because I took the week off. Because a reading video is like the easiest thing you can do. No offense to those channels that only read documents. The issue is that so far I've only read things that don't have like dialogue in them. They don't have like characters and things like that I have to voice act because I just didn't feel that comfortable with it. The problem is though that I've pretty much run out of lengthy SCP tales with no dialogue. Maybe there's something out there, but I've looked through a lot, and I don't think there are any left. So either I have to release, okay, so then I either have to just work on a normal SCP video ahead of time, which with my current schedule was just like, ugh. It's not something I really want to do. Or I have to release some other type of audiobook, like a Lovecraft thing with no dialogue. There's plenty of other Lovecraft things I can read, but that would mean no SCP video for that week, which is not great. Or I look into doing SCP tales that do have dialogue. Of which, even then, there's not that many that I would be like, that are lengthy enough and that good enough, you know, things like that. There's not that many, but it's something. And one of the things I was looking at doing is SCP-3043, which is the first SCP for Murphy Law. Which is basically, the whole thing is pretty much an SCP film noir script. And I've wanted to do it for quite a while, and in the past it's always been like, oh, I should do it, but I need to like collaborate with other people to do these voices. But now I'm thinking maybe I could just do it myself. There's not that many voices in it. It's really just like a couple male voices, or 3 male voices, and 1 female voice. So it's something to do, I guess. It's something that could give me a bit of a break one week. Yeah. So that's that. What else was I gonna say? Oh, right. So Final Fantasy 14, the story of Final Fantasy 14. I'll be releasing another episode this week. I'll also be doing a live Q&A this week to try and do one once a month. So that should be fun. The Final Fantasy 14 video, episode 4, is gonna be again, not that exciting of a video. I mean, I get most of A Realm Reborn 1 through 50 is just not that exciting. The story is there's a lot of padding. Even after they've cut out a lot of padding, there's still a lot of padding. As you do a whole bunch of stuff that's sort of unrelated to these big crises going on. You're just doing this like little stuff, and then at the end of all the little stuff, there's like a little bit of a tie-in to the big stuff, and that continues on for a while until we get to the end. So episode 4, not that exciting. Episode 5, I think, will be a little bit more exciting. Episode 6 will be a little bit more interesting because it's going to connect a little bit to Heaven's Word. And then I think episode 7 and 8 are going to be good. Or better. That's the current idea I have in my head. Another deer thing? Interesting. I don't think I have any of the, I don't have any of the... I threw away that trophy. I didn't think I needed it. But in the meantime, aside from SCP and aside from Final Fantasy XIV, I've also been working on another video, or 2 videos actually. This is entirely a passion project. This is entirely something I'm doing just in my free time instead of just playing video games. Entirely because I want to make these videos, which I think that's how you get out some interesting stuff. This would be the story of Final Fantasy VI. I am recording my whole playthrough of Final Fantasy VI, which is taking a while because I can't just speed through everything. You know, I have to actually like pause on each line of dialogue for the purpose of the video. But right now I'm at the World of Ruin. I just got the second airship, and it's progressing nicely. And so I'm not gonna release a video until both videos are done. Until everything is all done, I'll just release one and then the next right away. So it's just done. It's just done, and it's clear that this was just a passion project. I'm not switching off of anything else. It's all done. But I just wanted... I mean, Final Fantasy XIV, that's such a lengthy thing. That's such a lengthy, big project. I just wanted to sort of show that, like, this format could work for shorter games. And basically every game is shorter than Final Fantasy XIV. So the plan is Final Fantasy VI, it'll be 2 videos. They'll probably both be like an hour long or something like that, but 2 videos. The first one will just be called The Story of Final Fantasy VI, Episode 1, A World of Balance. And then Episode 2, A World of Ruin. And that's just how I'm going to separate it, because that's basically how the game separates it. And, I don't know if it'll end up being the best summary ever of Final Fantasy VI that anyone's ever seen, but again, it's a passion project that I just want to make. And I'm going to do it because I can. So, yeah, that's mostly how I've been spending my free time this week, is just playing Final Fantasy VI again and recording the whole thing. In the Black Forest now. Here we go. What is that? What is that? I'm coming to get your booty. Gray dwarf. More like dead dwarf. You throw something at me, you fuck. Yeah, so that's what's been going on there. Busy little bee. Yeah. So board games, we did a couple more. Actually, I think we did 3. We did 3 sessions or 3 games of King's Dilemma this week, so that's cruising along pretty well. I think we're over the halfway point. I mean, at this point, we've all acknowledged that the story really does not matter. No one really cares what's on the text, on the cards. All that matters is just the mechanical aspects of the board game. And we've all accepted that, so nothing's changing. Bone fragments. And there's like a scary... Oh my god, look at this. Troll cave. You ready to die? Is this troll ready to die? Oh my god, there it is. This'll go well, huh? Wow, I actually did way more damage than I thought. That must have been like a sneak attack. I don't feel rested anymore, Mom. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. Just give it a... I mean, I've played fucking Dark Souls, alright? This ain't nothing. Dodge! He fucking clobbered me. Watch out for those rocks. Just give it a second. Get that stamina. Oh, damn. I mean, all things considered, we did pretty well. Yeah, so King's Dilemma is going well. It's fun. We're all enjoying it quite a bit. And when it finishes, we'll be going back to RPGs, so it's all good. As for Bloodborne, the board game, got together with my mom. We played another session of that. Chapter 2 of the first campaign, which we failed. We failed that chapter, which meant that when you fail a chapter, the campaign is over. You have to start back from the beginning, completely fresh, completely from scratch. Now, I felt this was fucking bullshit, because when does that ever happen in Bloodborne? That's like Iron Man mode, where if you die, you go back to the start of the game. So basically, why we died, why the only way you fail a campaign, or the only way you fail a chapter, is basically the time limit. You can die unlimited times. Technically, I mean, you can die as much as you want, but every time you die and every time a round ends, the game timer ticks forward, and after so many rounds, it just ends. And you know, if you haven't finished your task, you're screwed. So we had been playing through the second chapter. We had been hunting down beasts. We found Yosefka's clinic and stuff like that. We were doing things. We had to decide to like bring survivors back to the Chapel of Odin or back to Yosefka's clinic. And so I was telling my mom about the game and, you know, Yosefka's really not a great choice and blah, blah, blah. And we were doing pretty well. It was getting down to the wire, but we finished up a couple tasks that we needed. And I'm like, okay, there's like one round left. We just finished the second insight mission. We get to flip over this card. Hopefully it says, you know, we win. Really, what that card fucking said was, you hear like a screeching noise in the night, and take the cleric beast miniature and put it on the board. So yeah, with one round left, we encountered the cleric beast, which has like multiple phases and like 26 HP or some shit. Like, there's just no way. There's no way. And so it kind of peeved me off because it's just like, okay, you know, the game's trying to capture the video game. There's no time limit in the video game. In the video game, if I'm struggling, I can spend as much time as I want preparing for this cleric beast fight, you know? But I understand, like, there has to be some challenge here in the board game, I guess. You can't have it be skill-based. You can't have it be, you know, oh, did you dodge well enough? And it's a lot like Gloomhaven. I mean, a big part of the challenge of Gloomhaven is sort of the card management, which is sort of a time limit, but also like your health and things like resource management, stuff like that. So I get it. I just don't love it. So we decided, okay, next time we play, we're not going to start at the beginning of the campaign because that's just stupid. We'll start at the beginning of the chapter. And even though we sort of know where to go and what to do, I mean, that still doesn't make it easy. We still have to beat the cleric beast, who we didn't even get to fight. But it's just like, if we get together once a week to try and beat this campaign, and we have to start over if we fail, and I've got all these expansion boxes. I mean, we'll be here for the rest of our lives playing Bloodborne, the board game. So I mean, it is a good game so far. I mean, we do like it, we want to keep playing, but my concern is that it's just going to be too damn difficult, especially because I don't know, they say it's best with two, and maybe it is, but I don't know if it's easiest with two or not. That would be my question. Okay. Let's go back in. Let's get our shit. Oh god. What? Take all. Oh my god. I'll be back for you, you fuck. Unless I get him to leave the cave. But if you got him to leave the cave, he would be trivially easily. So I don't think you get him to leave the cave. We need to like craft a fire or something. There you go. There you go. Oh, but you need a cooking station to actually cook meat. God forbid. We have a lot of meat to cook. Look at all this meat. Right, so, yeah, I mean, we'll keep playing Bloodborne. But, yeah, my concern is that I'll never get to any of these expansion boxes. I'll never get to
the Canehurst Castle and the Forbidden Woods and shit like that, because it's just like, even us getting through all the content in the base game will take months. That's assuming we succeed on our first try on every scenario. So yeah, that's that. RPGs. Okay, so last week I said how just unfortunate the first session of Horde of the Dragon Queen went, with people that have no clue what they're doing. They don't know how to play D&D, they don't know how to play RPGs, they're just bumbling around. It frustrates the hell out of me, so on and so forth. But I agreed to give one more chance. They all began watching a lot more videos about how to play and the basics, and like Critical Role puts out all sorts of videos about the basics of D&D and blah blah blah. So I'm like, all right, if they're committed to just sort of learning more and being more involved, then I can give it another chance. But 2 players couldn't make it, and I thought, okay, well, probably not a good idea to continue the campaign, because 2 of them won't know what's happened, and the rest of them will just be absolutely destroyed by the various encounters. So rather than doing another session of the Horde of the Dragon Queen, let's take a hiatus, and I'm gonna run a one-shot, and I'll make their characters and we'll just run a one-shot. And they had said that they wanted to do something a bit more, well, before this switch, they had mentioned like, oh, trying to be a bit more creative rather than just rushing in. They wanted to try and solve some problems without combat and blah blah blah. And so I was like poking around trying to find a D&D module that wasn't so combat focused, and I wasn't really finding much, because, you know, it's D&D. Combat is just sort of a guarantee unless you have a DM that really crafts a scenario or whatever where you can avoid it. I would have had to basically improvise the scenario. Instead, I decided to run The Haunting from Call of Cthulhu. Pretty much, you know, one of the most classic one-shots of all time that everyone should play. I mean, if you've only played D&D and you've never branched out into anything else, try The Haunting. That is just so... It's so simple, it's so classic, it's so good. Like, really, one of the first things we tried, other than D&D, for, like, our group, was The Haunting. And after that, you know, we just went on to all sorts of other stuff. So, yeah, I was like, all right, I'm just going to give them some investigators, and we're going to see how The Haunting goes. Call of Cthulhu, you know, if you're not building characters, it's really a pretty easy system to learn. Roll these 2 dice. Check the number. Is it lower than your skill? You succeed. Is it higher? You fail. Very basic. And it's 1920s, which, yeah, it's a little bit, you know, a little bit of an unknown time period for most people, but it's still, you know, Earth. There's, you know, so it's relatable. So they did some research before going to the house, the haunted house. They did research into the house a little bit. They found out some info, and they got kind of involved with that, and then they learned about this church that was raided by the police, and this pastor that was wanted. There was a cult going. They were abducting children, and like, oh, they got involved in that. They liked hearing that. I only have 18 arrows. That's really not enough. But fuck, I'm gonna have to create this whole shit. Just to create some fucking arrows. Alright, I gotta chop down a tree. And so eventually they're like, all right, let's just... Oh, they went to the house and they poked around the neighborhood. They talked to people. But eventually they're like, okay, well, you know, we learned as much as we care to learn. Let's go into the house. So they go into the house. Now, I've run the haunting like 3 times, I think. So every time I run it pretty much the same way. Ah! They're fucking poise. Hold on. I'll finish talking. Grey Dwarf Eye! Grey Dwarf Shaman! Oh my god, he's healing him! Oh! I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man. Yep. Alright. So I always run it pretty much the same way. They go into the house, they start poking around, they start investigating, and you try to build up this atmosphere of just this decrepit, abandoned house that's eerily quiet. And then you start making little noises happen. You start making little movements happen. There's a room, the living room is like filled with crosses on the walls. And so I'll have them see the crosses, but then when they pass through again, or as they're leaving, they notice that one of the crosses is upside down. You know, things like that. And you just sort of, you hear creaking sounds coming from upstairs. You build this up. And then things start to ramp up as the tension grows and they get a little uneasy about the place. And then I will start handing out like notes because a voice starts speaking to some of them. And generally I have the notes say like, oh, you know, you're all gonna die here, blah, 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 you know, creepy stuff. And then I'll have like, whoever I think is the most likely to act on it or something, I'll have them hear a voice telling them to kill the others and they'll be spared. So I gave that note to my cousin. He's like 14, I think. And he seemed like the most likely to actually kill them. And so they continue through the house, and I give him another note that was like, they only had one gun in the group. They had one police detective in the team, and he had a gun. So I gave my cousin a note that said, "Take the gun from him and shoot them." And so he sort of stewed on that for a little while. They went upstairs, they went into this bathroom, they found this bathtub like half filled with brackish water. And my nephew decided that he wanted to reach in and pull out the plug on this bathtub. And I'm like, okay. As you do so, an arm reaches out and grabs you. And I'm like, okay, the others, you don't see this arm. But, you know, the guy getting grabbed, he certainly does. So he was the one with the gun. So he pulls out his pistol and just shoots at the arm and shoots into the tub. And I'm like, okay, the tub shatters. I don't know if it would actually be made of like porcelain or ceramic or probably be like brass. I'm like, all right, whatever. The tub shatters and the water spills out all over the place and there's nothing there. And at this point, they all flee. They all flee because this is just, oh god, it's too much. So they run outside the house and they all reconvene and they're like, oh my god. And basically they get to the point that every Call of Cthulhu player gets to when they first start playing of, why the hell would we go back in this house? They started talking about just burning it down. And I'm like, okay, well, you can burn it down. The session will be over. You know, and this is just something you have to accept in Call of Cthulhu, is that there would be no reason you would continue going, but you just do because that's the game. All right, this is something you got to get over. You have to throw away some survival instinct when playing Call of Cthulhu. So my nephew, the police detective, he really does not want to go back in. This arm thing freaked him out. He does not want to go back in. But my cousin, he says he'll go in. Even if he goes in alone, he'll be brave. He'll go back in. But he wants the gun. And so I was impressed. He actually convinced the detective to hand over his pistol. And everyone was like perfectly fine with this. Like, oh, he's got the gun. And even after handing over the gun, the detective was convinced to go back into the house. So all four of them went back into the house, but now my cousin, the one I gave the note to, he has the gun. And I'm like, okay. He seems like he might be going towards this actual killing option. This is unique. So I give a note to my nephew when he comes back into the house that he hears a voice saying he plans on shooting you with that gun. Kill him. So I give him that note and he reads it and he's like, oh shit. But then literally like 10 seconds later, they go back upstairs. They enter like another room. And my cousin just turns around and shoots my nephew in the face with the gun. I did not expect. I expected him to be a bit more creative and like isolating them or something like that, and trying to pick them off one by one. But literally, they're all together, and he just is like bang bang. Now his character did not know how to use a gun at all. Like, he was really unskilled with it. So it wasn't, this was not like just a quick murder of all three of them. It was dragged out, and my aunt initially helped out my cousin try and murder my nephew because she was sort of metagaming. She saw notes being passed, and so she thought that he was killing the detective for a good reason or something. He knew something about the detective that was really bad. But she eventually learned, no, he's just killing him because he was told he'll be spared. Well, they're like, so they basically get into this brawl. They're all trying to get their hands on the gun. They're all going to fisticuffs. The gun is getting shot left and right, point blank. People are getting shot and wounded. Then they happen to be in the room in the house where Corbett uses the bed to like send one of them flying out the window. And I'm like, all right, this seems like a perfect opportunity. So the bed suddenly flies across the room and sends my mom out the window. My aunt finally just runs out of the house. My cousin finishes off my nephew, just puts a round into his head on the ground. And so then he calls out to the voice. He's alone in the house now. He calls out to the voice and asks if he'll be spared. And I'm like, the voice tells you to come down to the basement first. And he does. And it's like, what the fuck are you? Why do you trust this voice in your head so much? So he goes down to the basement where he gets attacked by the flying knife, and he basically just lets it kill him. And I'm like, all right. I mean, overall, not the best player. I was impressed early on when he convinced them to give him the gun, but after that, it was all just sort of like zero fucks kind of thing. Then, so my mom and aunt made it out of the house alive, and they're talking about what to do. They decide to just set fire to the house at this point. They think that's the best. They think that's the best for everyone else, so that no one will ever go into that house again. So they burn it down. It burns a couple of the neighborhood businesses along with it, because they really, you know, this is not a controlled burn. And, yeah, I mean, the session ended. Two of them survived. They ended the threat. Could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. I mean, really, if you want to win the haunting, it's just, as soon as you get to the house, you just set it on fire and then you're done. But, yeah. So that was the first time running the haunting that someone actually listened to the notes and killed their fellow investigators. That's never happened before. And really, if you think about it, if you're, you know, if you're rational, it's like, you know, this voice tells you that if you kill the others, you'll be spared. But it's like, you know, that's not a good bet, you know. If he could just kill you at will, you know, if your death is guaranteed and he could just kill you all, why would he need one person to kill the others? So, always a fun time. They all enjoyed it. They don't, you know, they don't want it to do like a campaign of it or anything like that, but they all enjoyed it as a fun little one-shot. Which is what Call of Cthulhu's best at, really, is just fun one-shots. My aunt actually got, like, really scared of the house. She didn't want to, like, continue to investigate at a certain point because it was just scary, which I think is pretty good. I mean, that's solid for someone running Call of Cthulhu. All right, so that's what's going on with that. This is an interesting little game. I'm a little disappointed I didn't kill that troll. If I had been a little bit better, I could have. But, c'est la vie. Alrighty, so yeah, Divinity Original Sin 2. More coming this week. Dragon Quest 6, more coming this week. Another Dark Pictures thing, whatever. Little Hope on Wednesday. Two Brothers Play Final Fantasy X on Saturday. It's all good. Check out the... Oh, I didn't mention. The video for tomorrow for SCP is more Davite SCPs. So it's 3 Davite SCPs in one video. Should be good. We've got Story of Final Fantasy XIV Episode 4 this week. And a Q&A. Another busy week in the life of Mangg. But for now, I will see you fine folks around.